Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day one of the new semester. You're going to probably see this tomorrow, but I'm taping it today on Monday. Yeah, be careful, be healthy, stay stay away from other people. People are dangerous. People have diseases and all of that. So please be careful. The odds are that some of us are going to get this before it's all over. So we'll have to see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to say a few things here right now about Charlotte Perkins Gilman. You can respond in the forum that I've posted on the Moodle page. If you have questions, if you have issues, if you just don't like this way of doing it, by all means, shoot me an email. If you want to stay private, put it on the forum. If you want to go public with it, and we'll see what develops. As I said before, we're all in this together. This is the first time that I've tried to teach online, and I don't know that I'm any good at it, so we'll find out. And it's you who have the opportunity to tell me how to do this better, okay? So please do. So Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Charlotte Perkins Gilman was born in 1860. She was a great niece of Harriet Beecher Stowe. So her father was related. He was somebody Beecher Perkins. Anyway, her father was related to the. Good Lord. Okay, pause here. Okay, let's try that again. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, born 1860, great niece of Harriet Beecher Stowe. So her father was descended from the Beecher family. So she comes from a long line of intellectuals, artists, people who had been active in various political causes and so forth. So it's a distinguished heritage. And so that's important as we try to understand sort of what's going on. She grew up in poverty. Her father ran off early on, although he later supported her. So there was not a sort of a breach between father and daughter. But she never went to college. She ultimately became kind of an illustrator for playing cards, and married, and had a severe case of postpartum depression. Husband gave her what was then called a rest cure, and because females were hysterical, right? Females are prone to this kind of mental disturbance, and so they believed in those days that the best thing for them was to create a condition of complete rest. And for her as a woman, for any woman, to do women's things, right? Take care of the baby and cook and domestic chores. So if you look at the yellow wallpaper, that's short story, which is in the book that we've got for the class, right? If you look at that story, it sort of tells the tale in a really quite harrowing way of a woman who has one of these rest cures imposed on her. She later escapes from that marriage, although she and the husband, the ex-husband, then retain cordial relationships. She goes out to California. She becomes an intellectual. She becomes an editor. She's publishing all kinds of stuff, and her ultimately her major work. Let me just check on this. Is called, where is it? Crap. Her major work is something about women in economics. So, and this is really, she basically she anticipates the concerns that modern feminists have about the unpaid labor of women and the ways in which that unpaid labor contributes to the prosperity of society. Okay, one more interruption. Welcome to the wonderful world of working from home. So she wrote a book called Women in Economics, published in 1898. Probably her most, her deepest contribution to feminist theory. And as I guess I started to say, she was, she anticipated the thought that, or let's go ahead and say, she invented the thought that women's domestic labor was valuable and was a huge chunk of the economy that was not recorded in official statistics and so forth. So, I mean, Gilman is a really, really interesting person, and if you get further chances to study her, I think you should jump at that. What we're concerned about is the book Herland. As I have tried to suggest before, utopian literature, right? What is a perfect society? What is a society that's improved over the society that we've got now? And that means sort of thinking about what are the problems with the society that we have today. And so what we need to think about as you read Herland, what you need to think about as you read Herland is these are Gilman's solutions to the ills of today's society. What does she see as the problems? And do her solutions actually solve the problems that she has identified? So originally I had intended to couple this book with Aldous Huxley's book, Brave New World. And in Brave New World, Huxley takes the essentially Freudian view, which is very contrary to the ideas that Gilman has. Huxley takes the Freudian view that the problem is our feelings, and that if we just let our feelings go, everything will be good, right? And so everything will be happy and normal and so on. Although even in Golding, right, everybody's taking drugs all the time. So that's, that may not be really ideal. But so this is the issue, right? What is the human problem? Or what are human problems? And what kinds of solutions do we want to suggest for those human problems? So as you look at Gilman and as you think about Gilman, think about how these problems manifest themselves. And for her, one of the problems was the identification of certain roles in society, certain tasks, certain human tasks or social tasks that were characteristically or specifically female, and some that were characteristically or specifically male, right? Historically, throughout political theory, you have a whole lot of people, virtually everybody, who says nature prescribes these roles. And you hear that still today when people say that same-sex attraction is unnatural in some way, right? That's what they're saying. That there are natural ways of proceeding for men and for women, and that those things are kind of fixed, set, fused in our character, as it were. And so Gilman poses, an interesting problem, right? If you could eliminate sex for the purposes of reproduction, what is it? Is it good for anything, right? I mean, do you want to save it for recreation or something like that? And so, how you interpret that, right? How you interpret these relations is terrifically important. there's a lot of commentary in the book, and I'd appreciate your ideas and thoughts in the forum. We really should share ideas more in writing uh, than in this form. Um, but I would appreciate your thoughts and ideas about sort of the essential qualities of men and women, and whether you think those things are natural or not, because it's still a disputed question. Or is it a matter of socialization, right? Are people born blank slates? And the the ways that we're raised, the ways that we're socialized, determine how these things turn out. So as you think about Gilman, and bear in mind, Gilman, I mean, for all, Gilman was a talented writer. She was really interested in women's issues, women's problems, and so forth. She was also a racist in the manner of a lot of progressives at the end of the 19th century. She believed that Africans were of a lower order and did not deserve the same rights and the same position in society as white people. So you can think about whether that might, it is somewhere in the back of things, where that might tell us something about how we should think about and interpret Gilman. So I think I will leave it at that. We'll have a lot more coming up, I hope, in the forums. Please write to the forums. And like I say, if you don't like what I'm doing here, if you would prefer that I'd stop, it's fine with me. So, but do comment and let me know. Thanks. Bye.